What is up, everyone? Welcome to Full Throttle Garage. My name is Connor, and today we're going to be working on this SDR 1400 Duo-Pact. It is powered by a German-made inline 2 diesel, making around 32 horsepower. These were made from 1984 to 1985. They were air-cooled, so this is your blower right here. The air would come in right here and would blow across the two cylinders, essentially cooling them down. So this roller just came off of one of Tef Basin job sites, Tef Basin. It was running terribly. Well, not terribly, but overheating a lot. I'm pretty sure there's a mouse nest in the blower. The muffler was junk on it. Needs an oil change, fuel filter. I'm going to change the oil in the air filter. These were oil air filters. So there's an oil in the bottom pan of the air filter housing. So we're going to get this blower cover taken off so you can get the rat's nest out of that. First, I got to take this fuel hose off. I'm pretty sure it's a fuel hose. And this wire which goes into the blower housing, which I have no clue what it does, but we're gonna figure that out. Okay, so first things first is I'm pretty sure this is a drain, either a drain nut or a structure or bolt, sorry, to hold this cover on. So we're just gonna twist this off. That was pretty loose. Tef Basin had bought this roller at an auction, I think, what was it, 4 years ago? 5 years ago? Yeah, I think it's around 4 or 5 years ago. Crusty. We bought it for a decent price. It runs, drives, and everything, does what it needs to. It works great. So for what we need, it just came off one of our driveway jobs. So let's get this fuel hose and this wire off. Okay, so I am not going to take this is a return line. I'm not going to take that off because how brittle it is and how old it is, but this cover should just kind of pop. Yeah, it's going to pop off right there. I'm just going to pop it off here. There we go. Come on. Okay, oh damn. That does not look good at all. Okay, well that explains why it's overheating. I'll just kind of show you guys here. You see in there? That does not look good at all. Okay, so just for a little kind of cool, so these are your heat sinks right here. This is connected to the wall of your cylinder, and air blows across these and cools the wall of your cylinder. Now, since this mice nest is in here, you know, that looks yummy. Air cannot efficiently get through onto that kind of stuff, or those heat sinks. So that explains why this thing was getting a little hot when we did the job. Right in here, you can see, right in here is your fan motor. And that is connected straight to your crank. And as the engine spins, obviously, spins the blower, which blows nice air over these heat sinks. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up off camera because it's gonna be a little bit of a process. And I don't think you guys want to sit here and watch me for like 30 minutes straight just kind of pick at this. So I will see you guys when this is all semi cleaned up. Okay, so I got the rat's nest semi pretty much cleaned out, so you can really now see how these heat sinks work. They was just caked on there. This is the mount. This right here is the mount for the cover over next to me. So this wire right here, I'm pretty sure, yeah. So this wire right here is my engine temp wire, which feeds up and goes up my dash here, and right here this will start to light up. Well, I don't think it works, but it'll light up when the engine starts to overheat. So this is now cleaned fairly decently, not to the absolute best of my ability, but it doesn't have any more rat's nest in it, so that's a plus. Ooh, a feather. There's a feather right here. So it should work a whole 10 times better. So this is done. Now let's head over. We're gonna put the cover on, head over to the other side, and get the fuel filter changed. Okay, so over to this side, we have our fuel filter right here. Way down there is the oil filter. It is really weird, and since these engines aren't really manufactured anymore, and the parts for them aren't manufactured anymore, the oil filter from Deutz was around $395 just for the oil filter. And here, oh, my light is going out. Here, I'll show you the oil filter. This right here is all the oil filter is. It is just a little cartridge, like in my dirt bike or anything. Videos coming on that later. It's just a little cartridge. It's $395 for this little dinky thing. So me and my dad did a little research, and we found one aftermarket, but it's still $57 for an aftermarket one of those. Crazy. All it is that and an O-ring. So on these, they had the exposed lifter rods, whatever you want to call them. I just brain fart. Right here, you can still see the heat sink, and if I had the cover over there open, you could see light coming through these, and the air. That's what air comes over all these. Right here is your exhaust pipe, and you can see there's no muffler here. That's like broken. Right here is my throttle cable. So over here, my throttle. So I don't quite know what goes in this little compartment. It's just right in here. I don't quite know what goes in there. Obviously, fire extinguisher holder. Don't have a fire extinguisher on that, but I don't know. So we're gonna get this Napa filter off. I have replacement in the pickup, and we're gonna get the oil filter changed. After that, we're gonna get the air filter oil changed, which is right in there. And then we're gonna get down below and get the oil dropped out of it. And another thing that I don't quite like about these engines is right here is the fuel filter. Down here, down here, this is the oil fill, which I don't understand. I don't understand quite why you would put that underneath the fuel filter, because it's a pain in the butt to get that to get a funnel to there, a big enough one. And then of course my dipstick is not even sealed, so that's wonderful. Oh, that's loose too. The throttle cable's loose as well. So I'm going to get an oil filter wrench and the filter from in the pickup out here, and we'll get this thing taken off. Okay, I got the new fuel filter. This was extremely easy to find. I don't know why oil filter is easy, the fuel filter is easy to find, and the oil filter is so hard. But I have an oil pan down underneath there. We're gonna get this thing cranked off, get this one on, and then we're gonna get underneath and change the oil. Alright, so we got the fuel filter on. Now usually on diesel engines, their fuel filter, you want to fill them up with fuel, so because you don't have to prime the system. Now this has a fuel filter installed on the side, so I cannot put fuel really inside of it to prime it. But on big trucks, like let's take for example our beautiful Western Star over there, the fuel filter is mounted upwards, so I can fill it up with fuel, mount it up, twist it on, and it should be primed. Unless you're like our Peterbilt and doesn't like keeping it primed. So that's on. I am going to pop the oil filter cap off. just to help with draining of the oil. And then we're gonna get underneath and drain the oil out. Okay, so under here is obviously where your drain plug is gonna be. So under here you have your oil lines. To go to your sorry, not oil lines, hydraulic lines. Go to your hydraulic pump sorry, that's your hydraulic pump there. This right here is actually my hydraulic drive pump. So that's what drives my 2 tires over here. And I'm pretty sure it drives a drum because it's got drum drive on it. So the thing I don't like is up here. Let me just turn the light on the GoPro. Up right there is the drain plug. Now, if you can see, this is all in front of it. So I have to maneuver this little wrench up underneath there and hope it doesn't spill all over the floor. I've already gotten diesel on it, so I'm hoping this goes semi-well. Here comes the oil. Oh, I missed it by a long shot. Alright guys, so I don't want to get this on the floor. Yummy, yummy. This is definitely full of soot. It doesn't look super shiny, which is a good sign, obviously. Drain plug is looking pretty good. So we're gonna let this, well, of course, it's spilling on the floor more. We're gonna let this drain. Let me take this out. Okay. Take that out. We're gonna let this drain. I'm gonna clean my hands up so I can, well, work on stuff without getting oil everywhere. And we're gonna let this drain, and I'll see you guys when it's done. Okay, guys. So as you saw, I just dropped the oil out of it. I don't feel like just kind of waiting for that to drain because I got other stuff to do. So this right here is my air filter. In some of these older diesel engines, the air filter was oil. So there's oil in the bottom part of this pan. That's what catches your dust and debris. And there is still a filter up in here that filters out most of the fine particles. So we're gonna drop that. But before I do that, look at how bad it's raining outside. I don't know if you guys can see this on camera, but it is just downpouring today. So that's fun. My dad just left the dump truck to go deliver millings to one of our customers. So that's super fun. So I'm gonna grab my hat and I'm going to drop this can. Okay, so there's just 2 latches. These are usually a lot stiffer, than your normal everyday latch for an air filter, because they obviously have to hold back a good amount of oil. So that just kind of pops out there. Oh, wonderful! Now I'm getting oil on my belt. Okay, flip that off. Okay, so grab a new rag and I will explain to you guys how these oil air filters work. Okay, so this is what they call a oil bath filter, oil bath air filter. So these were mainly widespread in the 20th century. If you guys don't know, that's like the 1900s, before the widespread of paper filters came into play. So how these work is air from the back tube over here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me tilt this up. Back here comes in and comes down this shaft and makes a sudden U-turn. It kind of comes down, sudden U-turn up from the oil bath reservoir here. So as the air makes a sudden U-turn up, the heavier particles get chucked downwards into the oil. Now, as the air is making a sudden U-turn, oil mist is brought up into the mesh filter, up into this centrifugal kind of bay, is what I'm going to call it, up here. So as they come up, the lighter, there's already oil soaked on the mesh filter. So that traps all the lighter particles like your dust and all that. And as oil builds up, it slowly drips down the filter back into this reservoir. So some of the history behind these oil baths. So these oil baths also came with a version for some automotive and some equipment as a water filter bath. So same principle, but instead of oil in here, they use water. Now the oil kind of sticks better to fine particles and is a lot more. It's a lot more efficient doing the filtration into this system. So they were widely used in a lot of farm machinery, and they became really, really popular in the 1930s and 50s. From the 1930s to the 1950s. And it was really useful for really dusty conditions. But in the 1960s, they saw a lot of decline in these oil bath filters because the mesh filters and the paper filters were just so much more easier to manufacture, cheaper, a lot easier to replace. Like, I can just take the air filter and blow it out and put the same one in, and it's kind of brand new. These, you change the oil, and you don't usually have to change the filter, but sometimes you kind of do. I'm not going to. I'm just going to change the oil in this one. They're not really used today anymore. They sometimes use them in really off-road vehicles, like maybe like a, I can't think of one right now, but where there's really, really bad dusty conditions. And they're sometimes used on some construction equipment and some vehicles today, but not really any. You're gonna find a lot of paper filters in them. So I'm gonna see what this thing calls for oil into the bath here, and I'm going to change this, and I'm gonna pop it back on. Okay, so good news and bad news, what I would say. We do not have the correct oil for the oil bath reservoir here. It calls for SAE 30 or 40. Same for the crankcase, but we're gonna just chuck in whatever the heck we use in the truck, 'cause I forget what we have in the big tank way over there. I don't know if you guys can see it. So I'm just gonna chuck this back on and get it relatched, and you guys will see me change this in a later video when I do the oil filter, because that is not in yet, because this little dinky thing is $395, which makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. But I'm gonna get this back on, and yeah, so let me just get this back on quickly, and I will see you guys after that. Okay, so I got the oil bath air filter back on. I don't have anything else really to quite do on this machine at the moment. So that is it for this video, and I will bring you guys back to this roller when I work on that big roller over there, because that thought it was a great idea to blow a hydraulic hose right on the job site. So we had to use this little thing for like 4 hours straight, trying to compact a driveway, and this driveway was like steep. So this little thing worked its butt off, and we're awarding it with some new parts and everything. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.